South Africa is a water-scarce country with frequent periods of drought. Water plays a crucial role in sustaining life on Earth. The drought negatively impacts on water supplies across the country. This water scarcity is further exacerbated by the prevalence of invasive alien species of vegetation, which tend to be heavy water users. The species are called invasive because they spread rapidly, often overrunning indigenous vegetation, and usually re-establish themselves first after fires have passed through the area. This alien vegetation sometimes literally dries up running water streams or borehole water tables. The importance of access to water has been highlighted during the COVID-19 pandemic, where frequent washing of hands, particularly at schools, is a critical part of the protocol to combat the spread of the pandemic. The Working for Water program is intended to target the eradication of these alien invasive species, particularly in our water catchment areas. The Drought Relief Program, DRP, which Working on Fire implements on behalf of the Department of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries, was an emergency response to the recent drought in the Western Cape. The High Altitude Teams, HAT project, is similarly directed at addressing this problem in inaccessible areas in terms of the slope of the terrain, because the invasive alien vegetation high up on the slopes spread their seeds to the area below.
The Drought Relief Project started in September 2018. The project employs teams to cut out alien invasive vegetation in important water catchments that feed out into water catchment areas for dams so that communities can source more water. There are also other benefits such as environmental benefits, ecological benefits, fire prevention benefits that are also associated with the cutting out of invasive vegetation. The areas where the teams are working often involved very remote areas, far from where communities are, high up in the mountains. So this included the need for the use of helicopter operations to troop teams from their base up through to into the mountains to get into those core catchment areas where the invasive vegetation is really causing a problem. They used helicopters, they used camping operations as well, where teams were up there camping for up to 2 weeks in order to make time management and just a better productivity for the operation up there. Okay, so the teams are busy cutting out the alien invasive vegetation, the species that are listed according to the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act, and all these species are listed for particular reasons, which include water, but also include biodiversity and other threats. The teams are making a big difference on the landscape level. They've cleared large amounts of hectares of invasive vegetation that is typically harder to access and has been lying in a bad state for quite some time. So the teams are clearing these areas and keeping them clear. It's a very clear policy of ours that once we clear an area once, that we return to it and make sure that it is kept clean. So that is assisted through the continued funding, and it's making a huge difference in these catchments.
So what we've done as the Working on Fire company, and for this particular project and for all the other EPWP projects that WOF is involved in, we source people from the local area. So it really is giving the people of this area who have no opportunities for employment, giving them a great opportunity to get an employment opportunity, a life skill, and something that they can take forward with them. We've had a tremendous response with their attitudes, and we're finding that we really are making a big success out of employing locally, and it's wonderful to see the young people get involved in this and enthusiastically embrace the fact that they are making a huge difference in people's lives.
DRP project helped a lot of people because there was no water, especially here in Eastern Cape. There was a drought, people didn't have water. We're cutting the alien trees, the alien trees eating the water. So it helps a lot of dams to have water. And it helps a lot of families, especially the youth. Some of us here are breadwinners. Some of us only For example, me, I'm the only person who working at home. I look after my family, I look after my mother and my father. So it helps a lot of people, especially on the side of water. People having water now, they're not struggling that much as before.
Since 2018, the DRP and HAT have already recorded notable successes where natural water supplies have been re-established after the invasive alien vegetation has been removed. Farmers have seen rivers starting to flow again. One such case was at the Khoso Forest Orphanage at Khoso Village near Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape. In 2015, the HAT team, based in Lusikisiki Ntsubani Forest Station, were deployed to the Khoso Orphanage and began ringbarking the huge gum trees and treated them with kaput herbicide.
In 2015, the team of Lusikisiki came to the orphanage and obviously came and cut these trees, or actually treated these trees, not by cutting them down, but by ring barking them. You can see where they've made their axe marks, taking off bark. Between the bark and the tree itself is a layer called a cambium layer, and that cambium layer basically transports the water from the roots to the leaves. Now, if we cut off the bark and get to that cambium layer and remove it from the tree, then the water cannot transpire between the root and the leaf. So basically what is happening is that the tree is dying of thirst. We do add a herbicide to it, which is called kaput. And this kaput is made up of two different active ingredients, which basically poisons the tree. So it speeds the process up of dying. It does basically three things. Obviously it stops the transflow of water. It then also poisons the tree, but it also changes the amino acids in the tree. So the whole tree actually starts, it doesn't understand what's going on in its own self, so it basically shuts down. And with that shutdown, that's the result. We're getting these skeletons. So I don't know if you can just look behind me. That one's still got its bark on it, but it's dead because the bark was removed from, if I can just point it out here, this is still bark, but the bark was removed from here down to the floor. There's the axe line, and there's an axe line. And then between there and there, you would basically put herbicide on the, closest to the ground as possible. And then the result is a skeleton of a tree. This is now 6 years later, so this is solid wood, but it's 100% dead. And with the result of that, we're getting water back into the natural underground water lines.
Then on 2015, we are coming there to meet with the pastor. Then we did an awareness on the children for the orphanage home. Then we heard that there is no water on this place. Since we were talking about water with our awareness, then we heard that there is no water on this place. Then what we have noticed, there is a borehole here. Then that borehole was not working. Because the reason the borehole was not working is because of the trees. The trees that are behind to me, they were eating too much water per day. One tree, the big tree, is eating 1,000 liters per day. That is why there was no water on this area.
Phayana ke siya amanzi siye siwafumane for basihlambe. Apha ke ngoku asinamanzi netephu asinazo aziphumi manzi. Ke ngoku ubaluleka kwamanzi kubaluleke ba masihlambe sipheke sikorobhe senze yonke into efuna uba isetyenziswe ngamanzi. Basinceda abantu basibulalela imithi atsho aphuma ke ngoku amanzi phayana ezitephini satsho salamanzi cabekwana ke ngoku siyabulela.
I want to give thanks to the Ntsubani Forestry and Fires because they helped us a lot. They even planted veg for the home orphans for the church. I think this Department of Forestry and Fires is doing a lot to save our water because we have got no knowledge about these trees. Some trees are using too much water. I think they helped us a lot.
So ja, vir ons as 'n gemeenskap is ons baie dankbaar vir die werk wat Working on Fire vir ons hier doen. Jy weet ons bou verhoudings met die ouens en die indringerbosse en goeters hierso is vir ons regtig 'n groot vyand want ons is almal afhanklik van ondergrondse water. Ons voer ons diere uit hierdie stroom wat hier uit die berg uitkom. En met hierdie bosse en goed wat hier so is dit nie net 'n baie groot brandgevaar vir ons nie, maar dit is ook goed wat ons water opvreet en ons kan dit sien. Ons kan sien hoe die water verdwyn, ons kan sien hoe die boorgate en goed swaar kry. Ons het baie dank verskuldig aan Working on Fire vir dit wat hulle vir ons doen hierso.
Working on Fire High Altitude team spearheaded the project within the 3 provinces. So far, an estimated 9,561 hectares have been cleared of invasive plants, targeting highly infected areas close to dams and rivers to counteract water shortages.